Hello, good evening, and welcome to you wherever you are joining us from in the world. We are live here at the Misano World Circuit, Marco Simoncelli in Italy, for the opening round of the 2019 MotoGP eSport Global Series. And the grand prize on offer for our overall winner this year, sat at the back of the auditorium, is this brand new BMW M140i, sat there gleaming and glinting at the gamers here tonight as they take on the first of our three challenges. I am delighted to say that joining me to take us through what should be another really exciting evening of gaming action, please welcome Amy Dargan.
Oh, thanks, Gav. It's great to be back, and especially because this year's championship is bigger and better than ever before. More on that later on, because before we say too much, we need to introduce the men that will be talking through all of tonight's action. It's Matt Dunn and Jack Appleyard.
Thanks there, guys. Yeah, glad to be here again in super sunny Misano. Beautiful sunset out there beyond the studio, and it's great to be back here because it's like a real back to school feeling. So many familiar faces among some new ones, including you, Jack. Jack Wright is your name, is it? Our main commentator for this year. Jack, how old are you? What's your name, shoe size, everything? Nice to meet you, mate.
It is. Pleasure to be here, Matt, and alongside you. But more importantly, it's going to be good to answer some very important questions. First and foremost, who's going to be lifting the title in Valencia in a few weeks' time? But then again, is anybody going to be able to dethrone the king of MotoGP eSport, the two-time champion, Trastevere? We're going to be hearing from the Italian very shortly, but before that, let's find out how we've got ourselves here to sunny Misano, and more importantly, the changes to this year's championship.
Well, now in its third year of running, the MotoGP eSport Championship has grown once again. This is the start of the Global Series. Six races over 3 events, starting here in Misano with our 12 finalists. Let's find out how they got here.
Yeah, earlier this year there were 6 online challenges. Competitors could do battle on 3 different platforms, PS4, Xbox One and PC. However, the main difference for 2019 was the championship was divided into 2 geographical groups. 12 players from each challenge passed through to the next phase. The top 6 from Europe and 6 from the rest of the world.
That meant 72 gamers qualified for the next step. The pro drafts, 1 pro draft for Europe and another for the rest of the world. Eventually we were left with 9 Europeans and 3 from other continents who took part in the final pro draft.
Yeah, and the final pro draft decided what team each player would represent in this global series, which is where we find ourselves here tonight in Misano, the first of 3 events, as Avi said, each featuring 2 races. The second event next week at Motorland Aragon, and the last one with double points on offer. It's double bubble at Valencia, the final round of the MotoGP World Championship. Our 12 finalists here, and it has been, Amy, a long road to get to this point.
Well, some, Gav, have quite literally had a long way to come, because it's an international field out there tonight. We've got gamers from as far as Brazil, Indonesia and even Australia. But in amongst the new faces, we've got some familiar ones as well. We've got some of the previous finalists. But will experience prove key tonight, or will our rookies raise the bar once again? It's time to meet our riders.
Now, our first rookie thrown into the lion's den is from Belgium. He's 24 years of age on the Red Bull KTM Tech 3. It's Wim.
Next up, another new face for 2019. He's had a little further to travel from Brazil, riding for Pramac Racing. It's Mareja.
The last of our 3 rookies tonight, all the way from Brisbane, Australia, 23 years old. It's Mr. TFTW.
A familiar face coming up next. He made it all the way to last year's semi-finals, riding for Red Bull KTM from Spain. It's 1NH16.
Now, another of our gamers to have come from afar, 29, from Indonesia, racing an LCR Honda in the Global Series. He's Moe.
Our next Global Series rider was another of last year's finalists from Spain, and ready to do it all again. It's Bomber 45.
Another familiar name for eSport fans of MotoGP, 21 from Barcelona on the Aprilia, our Yorker.
Next up, the man who already holds the bragging rights from the early stages of this year's championship, and another previous finalist, Adrian DP26.
And just like the Espargaro brothers in MotoGP, we've got a fraternal face-off. Adrian's younger brother, Christian MM17, he's also on a Suzuki.
Our next finalist got so close to victory last year, gunning for glory and still only 18 years old. From Italy, it's Andrew ZH.
And our penultimate challenger, last year's runner-up, looking to go one better, representing Repsol Honda, Eligos 555.
And finally, he's the homegrown hero from Italy, 20 years old and already a two-time eSport world champion. It's Trastevere.
There he is, the reigning champ. Trastevere is one of two Italian riders racing here tonight on home soil. A little bit of extra pressure for them. 6 Spaniards in the field. We've got a Belgian rider, and as we've mentioned before, those 3 who have come from further afield. Now, as a result of that pro draft, all the gamers managed to choose their team. They're here tonight in full team kit, and they got to meet some of the riders, some of the squads this weekend, spending some time with them, picking up a few tips of what might happen over the course of this global series. What an experience it's been for all of them to actually form part of the MotoGP teams here this year. The 2 brothers were there in Suzuki colours with Joan Mir and Alex Rins. It's going to be a fantastic global series this season. But there is one gamer in particular who knows just what wearing an official team shirt is all about. And of course, it is our 2-time world champion, Trastevere, and Amy is talking to him.
Trastevere, it's a pleasure to see you back here once again to defend your title. And as Gav just mentioned, you are in official Monster Energy Yamaha team colours. Just tell us a little bit about that experience. You became an official rider earlier this season.
Yes, it is fantastic and also a big opportunity for me to stay with this magnificent team. And it's a big emotion, a big opportunity. I'll try to do the best for this team and try to bring them the front of the grid. This is all. I'll try to do the best.
The challenge is obviously slightly different this year. You've got 6 races. What do you think about the new format?
The new format of this year, for sure, will be better. It's better than the past years because we have 6 races. So the winner, will be the more constancy in all the races. So it's different. The past years you have only one race, a big emotion, and 6 races will be more calm. Yeah. You can. Front with more calm, and the system of point is better, so I like this system.
We heard it here first. Consistency is key. Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
Let's have a round of applause for our 2-time reigning eSport MotoGP champion Trastevere. Undoubtedly the man that the other 11 want to beat this year. But how did he get on in qualifying? 2 qualifying sessions took place here at the circuit yesterday evening. Matt and Jack, I prefer to call them Mac. I think that's better. Mac, how did they get on, boys?
Well, if you're going to call us Mac, I think we're going to call you Gamey then, which is quite appropriate for esports, isn't it, I suppose?
Certainly is, and these guys were feeling gamey last night as well. Couple of changes to this year's we've just been through, one of them being the fact that qualifying took place yesterday evening rather than tonight. So let's find out how they've got on in that opening session. And the first pole position of 2019 in the end went the way of Ducati team's Andrew ZH, but the Italian certainly didn't have it easy, Matt.
No, he didn't. He was made to sweat quite a bit right at the end when Christian MM went red in the first sector, red in the second, and then again in the third before missing out by less than 1/10 of a second and having to settle for the middle of the front row.
The battle to take the final front row spot was as close as it could possibly be too, with defending champion Trastevere setting exactly the same lap time as Belgian rookie Wimp. But thanks to Wimp's second fastest lap being slightly quicker than that of the factory Yamaha man, it means that he will line up on the outside of the front row.
Row 2 was completed by Ellie Ghost on the Repsol Honda and the second of the Suzukis in Adrian DP, with 1 NH Rioja Moe Mrecha and completing a top 10 covered by well over a second.
So it'll be Andrew ZH to start race 1 at Mugello from pole position then, and as a result he puts himself, well, in pole position for the 2019 Tissot Prize, where the best qualifier at the end of the Global Series in Valencia will win themselves a Tissot watch just like we see in MotoGP itself.
And you might have also seen that Bomber will start race 1 from the back of the grid, and well, that's because he was exceeding track limits. And the man in charge of that, and actually all other contentious moments here, is our race director for the evening, Mike. Where's Mike LaFuente?
Yeah, Mike's going to be in the truck, and he's going to have some pretty tasty decisions to make. Track limits are always key in esports, as is reckless riding as well. He's going to keep his beady eye on all the action that's taking place over the next hour or so.
And there he is in the darkness, of course. Beady eye and everything, all concerned tonight.
Certainly is. Right, so the grid's been set then, Amy. Race 1 is edging ever closer here at Misano.
Oh, it looks as though we are in for some really close racing tonight. As you said, Jack, the scene has been set. The grid has been decided. Let's not forget, these guys have got to take on not only Mugello, they've got the Red Bull Ring coming up later. But first, the Italian circuit, and to show us how it's done, it's Jack Miller.
It's one of those tracks, very historical, very amazing. The crazy fans all the way around, the noise in the night. To the track. Mugello is generally one of the tracks where you can make a lot more time on the exit than you can on the entry, so it's definitely one of the key things is to be as precise on your braking as possible. Try not to make any mistakes there, and really prepare for the exit of the corner, because most of the corners or most of the chicanes, let's say, lead onto long straights. I've crashed out there in Moto3, fighting for the victory. I crashed out there first year MotoGP, second year MotoGP I think I finished it. This year probably fighting for the victory again with the MotoGP bike, and was 4 laps to the end, crashing out, 5 laps to the end, crashing out was quite heartbreaking, you know, especially being in an Italian team with a lot of, you know, the sponsors being there, a lot of support for us, and you know, to be running so well the whole race and then to finally have nothing for it in the end was a tough pill to swallow. The biggest thing is to be patient, try not to brake too late. Also to try and run maybe, I think with the game, for example now with my bike, I feel that maybe we have a little bit too much traction control. It's cutting the bike a little bit too much in some points, like in the Arabiadas and also in the last corner, it's not allowing the bike to accelerate more. So if you can run a little bit less traction control, I think that would be quite good.
And here he is, the man himself, everyone's favourite jackass. It's Miller time. Here's Jack Miller. Come and join us up on the stage, ladies and gentlemen. Pramac Ducati Racing's Jack Miller joining us up here on stage. He's got Malaysia in his sights. Come and join us in the middle here, Jack. Obviously, you've not got the best of memories there of Mugello over the years, as we saw in that video. But seriously, what tips would you give the riders for mastering the Italian venue?
I don't know, to be honest. I mean, you guys saw my lap. I'm not very handy on the PlayStation, that's for sure. These guys are in a world of their own. So, I mean, they probably know better than I do. But, you know, I just want to wish everyone good luck for the race. They're going to need it. And go our man.
Jack, obviously right now the nerves of these guys are going to be racing, but we've heard already from Trastevere, consistency this year is going to be key. What are your top tips for maintaining composure and just really, you know, not throwing it all down at the first race?
Yeah, don't get too hung up, I think is going to be the big thing. Don't get too hung up on the mistakes. There's going to be some. So just try and get over them as quick as possible and try to forget there's a beautiful BMW sitting over there for you guys to win.
I thought you were supposed to be managing the pressure there, and you're already ramping it up
I know.
them, Jack. How do you keep your cool though? How do you maintain under pressure?
For me, you know, it's kind of going to your sort of happy place. I mean, I've been doing this for such a long time now, so you sort of understand where you got to be and where your headspace has got to be. But, you know, days like today are extra testing or extra trying, so you got to you know, I'm getting better at it as I get older, but I used to be a bit more hot-headed, but I'm starting to learn how to control myself a little bit more.
So maybe the experienced heads are going to do the
Experience
business.
could prove key. Yeah. We said it earlier. Jack, thank you so much for taking the time out this evening to join us here on stage. Good luck for tomorrow for qualifying.
Thank you. Good luck to you guys.
Everybody, ladies and gentlemen, Jack Miller, thank you.
He's keeping a close eye on Malaysia, isn't he? He wants his Pramac rider to do well.
Well, we're getting close to race one, Gav. I think it's about time we go from Jack Miller to our very own Jack and Matt.
Oh dear, this is a terrible segues going on here, but no, let's get ready for racing then. I don't think you'll actually find a single race fan on earth who doesn't love Mugello. 5.2 kilometres in length, 15 fast and flowing turns. I mean, Jack, classics are guaranteed, even in esports tonight.
Yep, they certainly are. And do you know what, Matt? We've been waiting long enough. Let's kick off the 2019 MotoGP eSport Championship and go racing in Mugello. So here we are, live from Mugello for the first race of the Global Series. Starting on pole position is Andrew ZH. Alongside him on the front row, the Suzuki of Christian MM17. And keep your eye on the Belgian rookie Wimp on the Red Bull KTM Tech Trois.
Leading out the second row, the two-time world champion Trastevere leads from the runner-up from last year, Ellie Ghost, and Adrian DP fills out that row as well.
Third row of the grid, and we're still talking only 0.6 of a second further back. It is that competitive this year. Juan Hench will front row number 3 on the Red Bull KTM factory racing machine. Then we get the Aprilia of Rioja, and finishing row number 3 is the Indonesian Moe.
Well, we know Jack Miller's supporting the Pramac Ducati of Malaysia, and then it's got Mr. TFTW on the Reale Avintia, and Bomber bringing up the rear in 12th place. Well, there's only one thing left to lose, Jack. Let's go racing.
Let's do it. Let's kick off the 2019 MotoGP eSport Championship. All eyes on the lights, so they're going to pop up very shortly. And away we go for the 2019 MotoGP eSport Global Series. A great start from pole position for the Ducati of Andrew ZH. But just look at the reigning world champion Trastevere around the outside. Surely he's going to have the inside line into turn number 1. No, the whole shot will go the way of the Ducati of Andrew ZH. Christian MM17 just hanging on around the outside. A great start from the two guys on the front row of the grid.
Oh, he's going up the inside. He touches it. We've already got a fall of that's Wimp. Oh, he's wimped out of it. He's down in the gravel. Trastevere maintaining third, though. Jack, they're weaving all over the place. Like a Moto3 race down the start and finish straight.
Contact to the front as well as Christian MM17 tries to dive up the inside and takes the lead, but he goes wide on the flick back, and Andrew ZH retakes it. It's all action on the opening lap.
I'm keeping an eye on that Repsol Honda of Ellie Ghost just behind him, but Trastevere is ever present. Hey, watch those track limits, boys. It's also a bit slippery on the outside of the turns there, getting a bit squirrely as Christian MM17 at that point.
Certainly is worthwhile keeping an eye on track limits. They've got 3 warnings. As soon as they make an offence for a 4th occasion, a half a second penalty will be slapped on them, so they need to remain in track limits as often as they possibly can. Otherwise, we'll see them drop backwards, and you can see down the left-hand side of your screen at the moment just how much impact half a second will make.
Yeah, and you can see also Wimp has actually remounted. Of course he has, but he's back down the order, 12th place, but 1.9 seconds adrift. Doesn't sound like that much, but the times have been super tight, and especially in qualifying. Doesn't look like he's going to be really in this one, but this is only the first race of 6 in this global series. Look at that then from Andrew ZH, Christian MM17. We're coming to the final corner for the first time, and then it's all about the slipstream as we get on the run along that monstrous straight here at Mugello.
Andrew ZH, unsurprisingly then, leading from pole position throughout free practice. He has been the pace setter here at Mugello, but he's been chased down hard by Christian MM17 aboard the Suzuki. Ellie Ghost has now got himself in front of the reigning world champion Trastevere for 3rd place. A good start from the Pramac Racing of Moreira to get inside the top 5. Bit of action for 3rd place there as Ellie Ghost runs wide. Trastevere can't take full advantage of it, but there's still a long way to go in this one. 10 laps for opening glory in the Global Series.
Oh, it's just so watching the real thing. Everyone loves the Repsol Honda versus Monster Yamaha battle, but this is the battle we're keeping an eye on at the moment. He's up the inside. Oh, he chops his nose off a little bit there. Oh, and again, is he going to get him on the inside? He shuts him out wide. That is a world-class move from the world champion, but Ellie Ghost did look up the inside again.
The dangerous thing for these two, though, is Andrew ZH and Christian MM17 have been given an opportunity to break clear at the front of the race. Meanwhile, a corner cut has gone the way of Ellie Ghost 555 and Trastevere, I believe, as well.
Look in the background, though, Jack. To Juan and H on that KTM is making moves as well. He's up the inside of Malaysia, the Pramac Ducati there.
Interestingly enough, Juan NH, the only man in the field to be using an Xbox controller tonight. All 11 other men are on the PS4 controller, but he's certainly putting it to good use at the moment to get inside the top 5. He's got pressure, though, coming from Moreira and Adrian DP26. Do you know what? I'm really surprised at the pace that he's showing. As Amy said at the start of the show, he's been quickest in 5 of the 6 online challenges. He was probably, you could put an argument together, one of the favourites coming to this one, but it's a disastrous start for him, down in 6th place.
I'll tell you what, looking down the order, Jack, I'm really impressed by Bomber 45 coming through from the back of the grid. He's up to 8th place at the moment, far from out of contention of some solid points here, but look at the lead, the battle for the lead here. Andrew ZH versus Christian's MM17. Well, last time out in Silverstone, it was, of course, Marquez versus a Suzuki. Will it be Ducati versus Suzuki here in Mugello? We're looking at both these riders. Ultimate concentration on both their faces at the moment. Although we can see Andrew ZH definitely adopts the more static approach, whereas Christian MM17 likes to flow along with the racing as well.
I think that is the classic approach, isn't it? Anybody that doesn't perform on MotoGP and sway to the left or sway to the right isn't doing it properly.
I think I got more than 64 degrees lean angle sometimes when I did it. Fell off the chair a few times having a go at this sort of thing. But look at this. He's not letting him get it too close away. I'm not getting caught out by that camera angle this year. Last year my heart was in my mouth when we moved from one bike to the other. But these are just some of the awesome camera angles you can get in esports racing.
Another corner cut going the way of Bomber 45 on this occasion. He's down in 7th at the moment. A good start, as you rightly said, Matt. From the back of the grid, he's slowly making progress on that Petronas Yamaha. Further down the field, it looks like Ellie Ghost has just settled into 4th for the moment, with the world champion starting to hunt down our leading 2. That gap 1.4 seconds with 3 laps completed. Can the factory Yamaha man start to close in? The Ducati of Andrew ZH and the factory Suzuki of Christian MM17.
I'll tell you what, you can tell Ellie Ghost likes his graphics. That is an awesome number 91 that he's got there, and it's now becoming an all too familiar sort of skull ghostly face on top of that helmet as well. It seems as though he's coming very, very quickly towards these guys, but it's still just these two with a bit of a gap. Oh, Christian MM17 very wide around the final corner there. Could be a bit dusty, lacking a bit of grip there perhaps, but now is he too far away from that slipstream? Do not forget though, the horsepower of that Ducati.
One of the big changes for this year, Matt, is the fact that all of the riders do have tyre wear on. Now, the guy at the front of the race, Andrew ZH, is running a medium front and a hard rear. Everybody in the field is running a hard rear, but there are some changes on the front tyre. Interestingly enough, Trastevere is running the hard front tyre, which means that you could possibly put an argument together that he's going to come into his own as we start to get into the latter stages of the race.
Well, he's certainly coming into his own on that last lap. He's just set the fastest lap of the race as the world champion, holding firm in 3rd place, 1 second off the man in front of him, Christian MM17. And the graphics are all messing with my eyes for a little bit then, but Mareja just on the chase of Bomber 45, who is really the man on the move. We're just looking at him now. I'll tell you what, last time I saw a 67 on Ducati, that was shaky burn. We're looking at Moe now on the LCR Honda in the chase of Mareja there. Number 27 on LCR Honda brings back some big memories, that one as well, Jack.
It certainly does, and Moe will be hoping to put a big performance together. He has travelled 35 hours from Indonesia to get here in Misano tonight. So he's hoping to at least go home with a few points in his back pocket. Meanwhile, at the front, it's over half a second the lead now for Andrew ZH. Did you see a big black line coming off the rear tyre of Christian MM17 as he uses the back brake on the way through the final sector? Meanwhile, we're now on board with Trastevere, the world champion. 1.3 seconds is the advantage. He may well have made just a slight mistake somewhere out on track, because it was within a second at one point, having set the fastest lap of the race last time around. Let's keep our eye on the Yamaha man, because he's definitely starting to make progress as our race leader, Andrew ZH, comes across the line. And we've got to follow Ellie Ghost 555 on the Repsol Honda. He was in a comfortable 4th place, but now right at the back of the field. That is not how you want the opening race of the Global Series to go.
No, especially not for last year's runner-up. He would have been hoping for big things this year, although, as we mentioned, Global Series, 6 races is just like a championship. championship. It's not all a one-out final. These guys don't get eliminated in this round or anything like that. But looking at this, Christian MM17 on the chase still. But that gap to the front, is it eking out a little bit? No, it is coming down again. But these guys, they're making big stretches away from Trastevere there. 1.5 seconds the gap now.
Yeah, if anything, they are moving away. That hard front tyre isn't working for him. Race direction just pointing a finger at 1NH in 5th at the moment for a bit of reckless riding, so we'll have to be careful with that one.
He was the one who wiped out Eligos then, if that's what it was. We'll hopefully get a replay of that later on, but Mike has spoken, and heed to the warning, Juan, on that KTM. Ride within your limits, and other people's, I suppose, as well.
Don't want to get on the wrong side of Mike. He rules with an iron fist, and he's put the letter of the law down straight away in this global series. Christian MM17, still half a second adrift there in 2nd place. But as you mentioned, Matt, this new format is going to suit him far, far better than it did last year. He was one of the front runners in 2018, but in the grand final of Valencia, he crashed out on the opening lap at the opening corner. And with the guys at the front showing the consistency to just chip away, there was no opportunity for him to get back in the hunt to try and win the 2018 championship. This time, as Trastevere said, consistency will be the key if you want to come out on top at the end in Valencia and be crowned the 2019 champion.
We're over half race distance as we come across the line on board with Andrew ZH now on that Ducati. Last time around in that final sector, looking closely at the back tyre. And the black line's being laid off of Christian's MM17 Suzuki. Do wonder, is he getting a little bit more tyre wear than usual? Well, we'll have to see, won't we? But the man making big moves there is Moe, although Morecha just absolutely beautifully defends his line into turn 1 there. There was no way through by Moe there, but has he cut himself short into the chicane? No, he hasn't. Not left the door open whatsoever, as these guys are fighting for 7th place at the moment.
And these all could be vital points by the time we get to Valencia. Moe pushing hard at the moment, applying the pressure on Moreira aboard that Pramac Ducati, just slightly wide there before he flicks right. But he's able to possibly eke out 2 or 3 bike lengths there. It's a crash for Mr. TFTW.
Oh, well, we talk about people who've travelled pretty far to get here. He's come all the way from Brisbane as the Australian, and not even only that, lacking in experience compared to some of his competitors as well. Only bought the game 3 months ago. How about that for rapid rate of progression? Got our own Fabio Quartararo here, but he's on an Avintia Ducati. Don't say that too loudly.
He is. He's making the most of this opportunity. He's the Australian. Unbelievable. Bought the game 3 months ago, and here he is in Misano, racing for the championship.
Way wide here, aren't we? On board with Wim. Sorry about that, Jack the Belgian. They're losing big time out to Rioja ahead of him there for 9th place. Well, that's really opened up a gap there. What's happening at the front? Andrew ZH then. That gap is still not getting any bigger. Not getting any smaller, though, crucially. Does beg the question, is Christian MM17, is he riding on the limit? Is he going over it? Has he got anything left in the tank? We're about to finish this 6th lap, then it's only 3 or so laps left to go.
Does look comfortable at the moment, does Andrew ZH. We saw in free practice, he was able to put in lap after lap after lap, quicker than anybody else, and he's doing that at the moment as well. Christian MM17 just isn't able to get onto the rear wheel, and it's another fastest lap of the race coming courtesy of the Ducati man as he tries to eke his way towards a debut win in this 2019 MotoGP eSport Championship.
He did look very, very good on the brakes there, and that gap does look like it's coming down just a little bit. Christian MM17, a little bit wide, but he did have a crash out, remind you, in 2018, out of the final, of course, but he was your 2017 runner-up. If there's one guy who has all the experience he needs to put up with the pressure to close down Andrew 7H, it is this guy right here, the Spaniard, number 25. Well, can he do it? About 6 minutes to find out whether he can or not.
Yeah, he's running out of time at the moment. Andrew ZH, imperious at the moment. Nobody's been able to get close to him. He took the whole shot from pole position, and he's been in supreme form there on in. But Christian MM17 has applied the pressure throughout all 7 of the laps we've seen so far.
Good on there, but he's a bit wide, is he? Yes, he is. I thought, oh, blimey, he's closed up well on him there. But look at that. Fast lap from Andrew ZH from that last time around. A 1:42.829 from him. Very impressive indeed. But look at the dark lines coming off the back rear of that rear wheel of that Ducati here. So this final sector going to be so key. Can you get a good run through this final chicane? The Suzuki should be a bit better there, but can he close closing down enough to make a move into the final corner, and crucially, not mess up his line, coming out onto the straight.
Meanwhile, we certainly cannot discount the two-time champion Trastevere in third at the moment. If these two close up and start to take lumps out of each other, it's going to fall right into the hands of the number 73 behind. He's waiting, ready to pounce if anything happens at the lead at the race.
But remember what he said in his interview with Amy, Jack, that guy's looking for consistency. Okay, he wants to win. They all want to win, but if they can walk away with a couple of podiums here tonight, put themselves in prime places in the Global Series overall, then that is a job well done here in San Marino. But look at that again, Andrew ZH, another fast lap. I think that means he was quickest last time around, which is not good news for Christian MM17. We're on lap 8 of 10, so this is, well, including this one, 3 more laps to go. Time really is running out now.
That gap now 0.299 of a second. That is the lowest it's been for quite some time. 2.5 laps remaining for Christian MM17 to pounce. Can he do it?
You can really see the difference between the Ducati and the Suzuki, even on the game here, in those fast and flowing chicanes there. The Ducati, though, just managed to fire it out of those corners so you can stand up on the fat part of the tyre. Full gas up there, but look at this, Arrabbiata 1, Arrabbiata 2, over the hill then. That gap is just looking ever so close. I hope it's not the camera angle, because this could be set up to be a corker. He's right on him there, is Christian's MM17. Can he close him up there? Just loses out on the exit of the corner there. Just so characteristic of it.
He is. He's so hot into that first part. Before he then flick left, he loses a bit of time. But again, he tries to close in. He's going to go down to the wire this one. We're into the final sector now. Next time they come across the line, there'll be just 2 laps remaining here in Mugello to take first blood in the Global Series.
Look at the gap, Jack. Look at the gap. It's 0.166 seconds. That's the closest it's been pretty much all race now. And Trastevere, 1.4 seconds adrift. He looks well and truly out of it, just ready to pick up any pieces. Was that a twitch there from Christian MM17? How much will he lose across the finish line here on the straight to that Ducati?
Well, we're certainly into the part of the race now, Matt, where tyre life is going to be a crucial factor. For the first time in MotoGP eSport, these guys are having to contend with conserving those tyres for as long as they possibly can, and it's possibly the Suzuki that's doing the better job of it, because he is right on the rear wheel of Andrew ZH now is Christian MM17.
We have another race direction message, this time from Malaysia, the number 67, reckless riding. Watch yourself there. I don't know what's been happening there in that battle for 8th place, but Wimp's on the move. He's already back up to 8th after he crashed out at the beginning of the race. Bomber 45's had a great race. Oh, Wimp, I've just given him commentator's curse. He's gone down again as the number 97. But let's keep our focus on this battle at the front. Andrew ZH has responded. The gap is back up to 0.233. But I think at this stage in the game, like the proverbial greyhound to the rabbit, Christian MM17 is not letting go of this one.
How can Andrew ZH handle the pressure? It's been piled on him since lap number 1, and so far he's stood firm. We're into the tasty bit of the race now. 1.5 laps remaining. This is where the points are going to be earned. What can Andrew ZH do?
Well, Wimp has also been given a message of reckless running as well. So what on earth has been going on in that backfield? I hope we get some good highlights out of this one to see what's happened there. Dart lines being laid off that Ducati. It's in the run to the final sector now on the penultimate lap of this race. Trastevere looks well and truly out of the contention with this one, but that is a very, very safe 3rd place for him. A great start from the double world champion. Andrew ZH, though, imperious as we come into the final corner, but he's wide. He's very wide. Although, will that help him on the run out? Will that even come under the jurisdiction of track limits? I'm not sure. Mike will have to be the judge of that one. How much of a drive can we get down this straight? How good will Christian MM17 be on the run down to turn 1 on this final lap?
Here we go. 1 lap to go. 5.2 kilometres of the Mugello circuit to determine who's going to take the first victory in the Global Series. A mistake from Andrew ZH at the final corner, possibly proving that that front tyre is at the end of its limit now. Can Christian MM17 pounce?
Yes, well, he looked a little bit wide into turn 1 there, so he's given a bit of ground there. It's up to 0.4 of a second. He's run a bit wide. They've got to be careful of track limits, but I don't think that'll come under any penalty from Mike there. He's looking very nice and smooth through this long chicane section, and now we head down there. Oh, he's been accused of a corner cut there. Well, he's trying very, very hard indeed. Too hard, in fact. Can he catch up with him? He's starting to panic now, I think, Jack.
We're in towards Arrabbiata, just half a lap to go. 0.5 of a second is Andrew ZH's advantage. Can he hold on? He's been superb throughout this opening race.
Well, he's always feeding on the power there. The front wheel is twitching, getting a bit of sliding going on. Blimey, Trastevere looked awesome through that corner there. Great power sliding. A bit wide through here, though, as we're going on the run down to that final sector.
Here we go, into Quartararo for the final time. He's way too far back. It's Christian MM17 to make a move. He's just hoping that Andrew ZH makes a mistake in this final bit. But if he continues like he has done for the previous 9 3/4 laps, surely the victory is going to be his. Into the final part of the lap now as they flick right, they flick left. Hard onto the brakes for the final corner. Andrew ZH on a Ducati at an Italian circuit. It's just like we saw this year in MotoGP. Andrew ZH gets it onto the fat part of the tyre, uses that Ducati horsepower to get to the line, and first blood goes to the Ducati man here at Mugello.
Well, what a race that was, Jack, blimey. And you can see the emotion from that, everything from last year with that grand final, losing that. Well, he's taking one big step forward into clinching the title this year, that's for sure.
Christian MM17, the man to his right there. I think content with second place after that one. He's got another go at it in Austria in just a few moments' time. But what a way to kick off the 2019 Global Series. Amy, Gav, oh, what a way to start.
Yeah, it really was. Well, I think we're going to be getting a look at some highlights first, actually, before we throw it back down to those guys. I tell you what, I'm glad we haven't got handheld microphones because my palms are absolutely sopping. I need some sort of towel, flannel, everything to cool down after that. The best part, also the worst part for us commentators and our voices, there's another race to come yet.
I know, the good thing is we're going to go to the Red Bull Ring very shortly. But before that, let's take a look at the results. Mike has had his rundown, and these are confirmed. Andrew ZH taking the 25 points at Mugello. 0.4 of a second clear of Christian MM17, with a two-time champion Trastevere completing the podium. Adrian DP on the other of the Suzuki's take 4th place, and Juan NH comes through on the KTM to complete the top 5. Bomber from the back of the grid will take 6th place, a good ride from him. Moe 7th, Mareja 8th, Ellie goes 555, will be bitterly disappointed a crash saw him drop down to 9th. With a top 10 completed by Rioja, a couple of crashes for Wimp sees him come home in 11th, and completing R12 is Mr. TFTW aboard the Real Avintia Ducati.
Oh, got to take nothing away from Mr. TFTW because he has travelled one hell of a long way, and without that experience, you know, he's going to come back fighting, only going to get better.
He certainly is. He's got another 5 races to grow, and he's quite happy to just take on the experience for what it is. Meanwhile, let's take a look at the highlights of that opening race from Mugello. It was Andrew ZH that started from pole position and got an absolute dynamite start aboard the Ducati.
But look at the weaving they did all down that front straight and on the run down to turn 1. Well, it was at this point Andrew ZH had well and truly got that whole shot, and these guys couldn't even show him a wheel ever since after these first couple of sectors or so. Look at the action there, though. That was where Wimp's charge for the win ended as he crashed out down at turn 2. Look at the concentration on their faces. The two rivals even sat next to each other in this game show.
There was so much contact through the opening corners between the leading two, and then even further back there was contact again. Trastevere and Ellie goes 555, battling it out for the final podium place, and Trastevere, well, not leaving much room for Ellie Ghost on the outside of the corner.
No, he really wasn't, and plenty of messages from Race Direction. Of course, we're looking on board now with Juan NH16 to see what his view was of all the battles going on behind him. A battle royale looked more like something from WWE, I imagine, given the amount of, Race Direction messages from Mike, of course. Not to be caught out by those camera angles again, though. Andrew ZH just absolutely imperious. Faultless in these corners.
He was at half race distance. He was holding that gap at about 0.4 of a second, and then as we got to 2.5 laps remaining, Christian MM17 closed in and reduced the gap to well under 0.2 of a second, and we thought we might have a fight on our hands in the closing stages. But in the end, that man right there, Andrew ZH, was able to hold off the pressure of the Suzuki to take the opening win despite some late tyre trouble. You can see the rear wheel spitting him from side to side, trying its best to send him out of the seat.
Yeah, and this was on that penultimate lap, just going a bit wide. Well, that was the little bit of hope, all the little bit of hope which Christian MM17 needed, but unfortunately still wasn't enough to take that victory. This was coming across the finish line to take that victory. Well, oh, blimey, and even on the grass as well.
Good way to celebrate, I like it.
Top quality, a bit of motocross, why not?
Certainly was, and just like we saw in 2019 in MotoGP, an Italian at Mugello on a Ducati winning And we've seen it here again in eSport as well. What a way to kick off 2019. Gav and Amy have got the podium presentation for us now.
We absolutely have. But Gav, that was your first taste of eSport action. What do you make of that?
That was pretty special. The best bit was as well that we had Andrew and Christian sat next to each other on stage. You could feel the tension between them. But let's have a big round of applause for our podium finishers this evening. In third place, Trastevere. In second place is Christian MM.
And our winner tonight for the first race, Andrew ZH, you were absolutely fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for our first winner. Andrew, pole position, first win of the evening. Talk me through that first race.
Yes, I'm very, very happy because Mugello is my favorite circuit, and takes the pole fast lap and win here is a dream. Is a big honor. To me to win here. And the race was very, very difficult because Christian backed me for all 10 laps and half second all race. So I was have a lot of pressure, but I'm very happy, and I'm the best person happy in the world now.
Oh, bless. Congratulations for this first win. You've got to do it all again. So we're gonna let you guys go down and go have a seat, take a breather, because race 2 is coming up shortly, Gav.
Yeah, and Andrew, our youngest gamer in the field at 18 years of age. Make your way back to your chairs, fellas, because you have to do it all over again now. We are going to move on to our second race of the evening. Now we've experienced Mugello and a Ducati winning there. I wonder what the KTMs might do, because next up it's the Austrian Grand Prix. Yes, it's the Red Bull Ring they're going to be taking on, and what looks like a simple layout when you look at it on paper is a much more tricky affair for our gamers here this evening. Boys up in the commentary booth, I hope you've taken on some water after that hectic first race. Mac, it's all yours again.
Thank you very much for that one. Yes, time for something wildly different as our esports competitors head from those rolling hills of Tuscany to the mountains of Austria.
But before our final race of the evening gets underway, let's find out how they got on in qualifying yesterday.
Hey, bud.
Now really out on pole position then for our first race of the day. Christian MM17 made sure of it in Austria by clinching top spot by well over a tenth of a second.
Yeah, he certainly looks like being the man to beat around the Red Bull Ring. As 0.17 of a second is a big gap we've seen, and it's the biggest one we've seen so far this weekend. He won't have it easy though, as lining up alongside him is the two-time champion Trastevere aboard his Monster Energy Yamaha and Ducati's Andrew ZH.
There'll be some late charges coming through the field, just like we saw in race 1 from row number 2, with Repsol Honda's Ellie Ghost, Adrian DP on the second of the X-Star Suzukis, and Wimp all showing a strong pace.
Juan and H, Rioja and Moe line up on row 3 of the grid with Mr. TFTW. Bomber and Mareja completing our grid for race 2 of the MotoGP eSports Global Series.
So there you can see it, the man that started from second on the grid for race 1 will now start from pole position. That man right there, Christian MM17, but he's going to come under pressure from our race 1 winner, Andrew ZH, looking nice and calm and confident. And who better?
Who's that?
To offer some expert advice on the Red Bull Ring than a man that picked up a podium there in his debut MotoGP season. Ladies and gentlemen, Fabio Quartararo.
Fabio, you had some experience in commentating, I believe, at a karting race just the other day. Are you ready for this?
Yeah, I'm ready. I had a training on Wednesday night.
I'm not sure about your tutor, but you were very good.
Yeah, was you. So I had a good teacher.
Now we know as well you're pretty handy on Fortnite. Well, you think you're pretty handy. Yeah. What about MotoGP? How do you get on that game?
I'm not bad. I'm struggling on the new game, but let's say I'm improving. I will train for eSport for next year, maybe.
Well, yeah, that's the big thing.
Well, yeah, exactly. We wanted to ask you, do you ever think you'll ever be the first MotoGP World Champion and MotoGP eSports World Champion in the same year? Is that possible?
I don't think.
Oh,
I think you have too much work already to be MotoGP World Champion.
No.
And you need to dedicate a lot of time for eSport.
You are a busy man, we'll give you that. But let's find out who's going to have the championship lead before we head to Aragon. It's time to go racing in Austria. So here we are at the Red Bull Ring. Fabio, we know how hectic it can be on the opening lap. What advice would you give just to sort of manage this pressure that you're going to have?
Well, of my experience is don't make a mistake on corner 3 because I was third and finally I exit on first position. So that's the main thing to make the two first corners in a good way.
It's certainly super tight in that first corner and the third one as well. Let's just run you through the grid. On pole position, as we said, Christian MM17, joined on the front row by Trastevere and Andrew ZH.
Yeah, then after them you got Ellie Ghost, Adrian DP and Wimp rounding out the second row.
Row number 3, as we can see now, the KTM of Juan NH, the Aprilia of Rioja, and 9th on the grid will be the LCR Castrol Honda of Moe.
Yeah, and then finally on the last row, Mr. TFTW, Bomber and Mareja rounding out the top 12. Bomber, we know who Fabio will be cheering for on that Petronas Yamaha. Bomber 45, had a great race just now in Mugello, but will he be able to do anything, pull anything out of the bag, a bit like Fabio in Austria maybe?
Yes, he will make a good start.
Yeah?
You're confident? I feel it.
You feel it? Okay, well, let's see how much of a prediction it's Fabio Quartararo is. It looks like it's Christian MM17 who got a good start, but Trastevere is the man down into the first corner. Up the inside, though, of Christian MM17, his brother Adrian. Where is your man, though, Fabio? Bomber 45 maintains that 8th place, but here we're on the run down towards turn 2 and turn 3. No mistakes, just like Fabio said right now, eh?
It's absolute carnage through that first corner. I think everybody was outside of track limits. There were pretty much the car pack route for every single one of them. And again at turn 3, just as you said, Fabio, don't make a mistake there, because you can end up out in front, and that's exactly what the man at the front of the pack has done, Christian MM17.
Well, looks like the Petronas Yamaha's coming out the inside. Oh my goodness, he just took someone out, I think, or did he not? He proper bushed into him. Fabio, I would never expect to see anything like that from you.
Yeah, but I can feel he's strong. I knew before the race start that he will make a good start.
Hang on, I feel there's been some kind of top tips going on here, some private ones for him, but Christian MM17's the main one who's really benefited from all that. At the inside is his brother, Adrian DP26, of the double world champion. But look at this, Christian MM17 getting the same sort of opportunity Andrew ZH had back in Mugello.
Here we go, the 4 abreast into the penultimate corner, and it's Andrew ZH that comes out in front of the all-run wide.
Oh my goodness, it is just like, it's worse than a Moto3 race, it's ridiculous. I can't even control what's going on. Oh, Bomber 45, the Petronas Yamaha's a bit wide at the final corner. What will Mike say about those track limits?
Meanwhile, Christian MM17 at the front of the race is out of trouble and he's away with it. 1.2 seconds clear again. There's contact from Andrew ZH. It's absolute chaos in Austria.
The adrenaline is still flowing from that Mugello race just a few minutes ago, because these guys are going at it hammer and tong. Mike has got one hell of a job on. Juan NH has been accused of a reckless riding. Well, it's not been accused. It's been decided by Mike. It was reckless riding. Fabio, how do you even cope with these opening stages? It's just chaos.
Yeah, if this was on real life, everybody get black flag, I think. But that's funny.
Yeah, oh my goodness! Well, definitely for that sort of move, Andrew ZH is down. The winner from last time out's down, and somebody else is with him, I think. Oh well, that was carnage. I think we're gonna have to wait quite a while for the final results after this one. Oh my goodness me! Juan NH, who's had a race direction message for reckless driving, he's in second place now.
Well, close your eyes, Fabio, because the other man to go down was your man. Bomber 45 is out of it on the Petronas Yamaha.
He's been wiped out, unfortunately. Oh, Adrian DP26 been told to go back a position there. He's got to give it up to Wimp. He's got to Wimp out to Wimp. Oh my goodness me. So Christian MM17 is maintaining the lead. Is Juan NH going to get any more messages from race direction? He's got no one around him at the point. Mareja is the main beneficiary of all that chaos though. He's up into third.
1.5 seconds clear is Christian MM17. And Fabio, when you've got a lead of that amount, how do you go through planning the race ahead? You just need to keep hitting your markers, be as consistent as possible.
Yes, I think 1.5 is the moment where you are between taking the gesture of the gap or pushing more. So I think from 2 seconds is a great advance. So I think he will need to push a little bit more.
Hey, we've got another faller in the background, and it's Wimp again. What sort of, how hard is it? Is it better to lead a race with all no pin behind you? Trastevere up the inside again. Oh, he cut the corner on that one, though. Mike's hot on the heels of that one. He says, absolutely not, Sunshine. You have just cut the corner. Please be careful. He's only got 3 warnings, though, hasn't he?
Trastevere came from about 3 miles back then. He was absolutely nowhere, but found a move up the inside to get in front of Murray here. He needs to be careful, though. Did he just cut the inside of the corner on the way through? At the moment, he's going to hold on to 3rd place. And what a great ride. It's gone unnoticed by Juan NH on the KTM on home soil. What a result for the Austrian factory.
Yeah, Juan NH 1.5 seconds back on Christian MM17. I was going to ask you, Fabio, do you prefer to lead with a gap, or would you prefer to chase someone and try and make an overtake on them?
Honestly, I prefer to lead, even if I don't have the opportunity to lead a lot this year. But for sure, depends on which rider. Like to chase a rider, but I had the feeling that I feel more comfortable to be in front, because on practice, normally we practice a lot alone.
Well, clearly Christian MM17 is very comfortable leading here as well. That gap is increasing now, up to nearly 1.9 seconds from the KTM of Juan NH16. Mareja, though, is on the hunt. He's only 1.5 seconds back, but he's got big company, look, from Trastevere 73, the world champion. We're looking at the number 67 now. Really like the numbers they got there. Cool black helmet as well. I appreciate a man with style there.
This is some performance coming from Moreira. Remember, he's a rookie. He's never been in the Global Series. He's never been in the eSport Championship, full stop. He's travelled all the way from Sao Paulo in Brazil, and here he is in contention for a podium. Superb ride. You know exactly what it's like to contend as a rookie, Fabio. I mean, what a performance.
Yes, I didn't know he was a rookie, but yes, I think he already trained a lot at home.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I don't think he's a real rookie in the championship, but I think he trained a lot in the past years.
So different, though, I'm sure you'll agree, coming from training at home to suddenly being in this big stage. How do you sort of manage those nerves first time out?
Yeah, that's for sure. When you are training at home, you have no pressure, and it's like training for us. But as soon as you get in a real competition with important people looking at you, that's where the pressure comes.
Especially when Fabio Quartararo, MotoGP star in the making, is commentating on you as well. But Trastevere, there's one man who can manage pressure. He's looked all over the back there of Mareja, but he went way too wide there. Oh, Bomber 45, the Petronas Yamaha is down. Oh dear, well, I don't think that's been involved with anybody else there, down in 11th place. But I remind you, this is a global series. This is race 2 of 6. It's all about consistency, and he had a good race last time out.
And talking of consistency, the man who finished second last time out, Christian MM17, at the front of this race, now over 2 seconds clear. What a performance coming. Meanwhile, race direction, Mike has been at it again. Oh, and it's under investigation. The incident between the man in 5th place, Adrian DP26, and our current championship leader, Andrew ZH, is currently under investigation.
Well, that is not good news for those guys. It seems as though we'll be waiting a while then for the results. Here is Andrew ZH, your winner from Mugello. He's recovered, though. He's back up to 7th place after that crash at the beginning. Riding angry, I assume, but that Ducati is so well suited round here at Austria. Hey, Fabio, tell us, how hard is it to race a Ducati at Austria? All those straights, those tight corners, very, very difficult.
Yes, it was difficult because I don't know if the game is in the same story as Unreal, but the top speed of the Ducati was insane. So yeah, I hope for Bomber he get back and get some position. But yeah, it's not easy to race with Ducatis on this track.
Well, it looks like Andrew ZH is definitely on the charge. But look at this, though. Race direction telling Juan NH16, the man on your screens there, the Red Bull KTM, corner cut. Is that again, Jack?
I think, yeah, it's definitely not the first time. And you can understand why he is cutting a few corners as well, because Moreira, the Brazilian, is applying all kinds of pressure on the KTM at the moment. The rookie you thought would be happy with 3rd place, but clearly not. He wants to go one better and get himself up to 2nd.
When you travel all the way from Brazil to come and compete in Italy in MotoGP eSports. You do not want to go home without as a bigger prize as you can possibly get, that's for sure. He's in third place now. A podium is great, but he wants that second place.
Meanwhile, further down the field, Trastevere, our champion, still there in fourth place. Adrian DP in fifth. The man who won last time out, Andrew ZH in seventh. Meanwhile, the Repsol Honda of Ellie Ghost in eighth. So a couple of the big hitters just struggling at the moment.
Yeah, they really are, but lap 7 of 10. We're getting into the final stages of this race, and look at that. Juan NH looks as though he's got some big company from Malaysia now, closing yet again. But how far back is Trastevere? I can't really see there from our graphics. It looks like 0.8 back, actually, from Malaysia then. But he closes in on that Ducati right into turn 3.
Meanwhile, Christian MM17, 3.1 seconds clearing. Saw a bit of a twitch from Moreira there. Tyre life is so crucial in this game, especially this year. How easy, or how difficult, should I say, is it to try and conserve those tyres, especially here at the Red Bull Ring?
Yeah, for me it was really tough. Looks like in the game is the same, but you know, it's many right corners, many acceleration when you push a lot the tires. So yeah, it's tough. On the left corners yeah, it looks like he slid quite a lot. Yeah. But yes, on real, the right side is quite critical on this track.
Look at that, Christian MM17, he definitely seems as though he likes riding like Mr. Man. Fabio Quartararo next to us, he's comfortable in the lead there on his own. He's pulled out one hell of a gap there on Juan NH16, 3.2 seconds. Blimey, Jack, I was not expecting this at all.
Absolutely superb performance coming from the Suzuki X-Star man. Bit of a surprise as well, because it was his brother, Adrian, the man that topped 5 of the 6 online challenges. But we've come to the Global Series when it matters, when it counts, and it's the younger of the two, Christian MM17, that so far is showing his brother the way.
God, what's it like going down that straight there, heading down towards turn 3? Looks like one of the biggest rushes you can get on a MotoGP bike.
Yeah, it's true that we don't get, I think, one of the highest top speed of the year, but at the end you are going at, I think, 315, but in a corner. So you need to brake on the left side and then on the right side to make the turn. So the stopping performance is a lot, because the corner 3 is like 60 km/h. So it's quite nice to go into this hill on this speed.
What did you think the first time you did it at full speed, fully tucked in? You're like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, the first lap I was, let's say, not scared, but I was really surprised, and I didn't keep full gas. So on the second lap was quite better, and every lap you learn a lot on a MotoGP bike. So I think was quite nice to be there with the Yamaha.
Especially when you're a quick learner like yourself, it seems then. But we're coming on to this final, well, penultimate lap, I should say, lap 9 of 10. And this battle for the podium is not over. Trastevere on the Yamaha hunting down Malaysia, but his opportunities are running out, Jack. Only 10 corners or so on this circuit. Who's that going seriously wide? That is Malaysia going very wide. Got to be careful of those track limits in these final stages. That is when Mike is going to be extra eagle-eyed and ready to pounce to give someone a penalty there. He even cut the corner.
He did. Well, that corner cutting, just counting for track limits as well, so he needs to be careful on that one. But more importantly, Matt, it looks like he went wide and made a mistake, which has allowed Trastevere to close in. This is a great passing opportunity now, down at the bottom of the hill.
Oh, he's going to go for it. He's going for it. We're looking at chase cam here. He's at the inside. Yeah, he's got him. Oh, he chops his nose off. Great action. Is he getting him on the cutback? Yes, he is. Oh, this is superb action there. Into the left-handers, though. Malaysia, brilliant defending. Oh, what do you make of that? Even got an applause from Fabio Quartararo here. Oh my goodness me. So penultimate lap then. Trastevere's not going to let this one go though. Adrian DP26 ready to pick up the pieces if these two get a bit too spicy on these final lap.
You can be absolutely guaranteed Trastevere is going to make another move. Maybe even now he's looking up the inside. Can he lunge up the inside? No, not this time around. Oh, big mistake from Moreira on the curb on the inside, and the rear wheel was trying its best to kick him out. Just about keeps it in line, and as they come across the line, we've got just one lap to go. Can Moreira hold off the factory Yamaha of Trastevere for the final podium place?
You can't take anything away from this man though on the run down to turns 2 and 3. 3.7 seconds ahead. This race is Christian MM17's so long as he keeps it rubber side down. That third place though might not be Malaysia's.
Quartararo, Fabio, where is the best place to make a move on this final lap? We saw Dovi dive down at the final corner. Surely that's not the best though.
No, that's not the best, but I think right now in the downhill and the penultimate corner for sure is they are the best places to overtake.
And then we'll see what he can do up the inside, maybe into turn 9 later on in the lap. We're going down into turn 4 at the moment, though. On board with Mauricio. Trastevere so close to him. Oh, the inside. He's trying to make a move there. Juan and H, a corner cut again. Accusation for him from Mike. Can he get the inside at turn 6? No, that is not a standard overtaking place, but it is. It is. Your name is Trastevere. What am I saying? What a move from the double world champion. He's going to get straight back from Mauricio. This is not over. A couple of corners left, Jack.
The gloves are off between these two. Contact between the pair of them. Mike will be watching it, keeping his eye on both of them. But as we go into the final sector now, Christian MM17 is at the front of the race and in the bottom left-hand side of your picture. He's going to take a comfortable victory and take control of the Global Series before we head to Aragon. Juan NH will take second place, and the rookie Moreira holds off Trastevere in the final stages to take a debut podium finish. What a result from the Brazilian, but that man right there, Christian MM17, takes the win. Juan NH on the KTM in Austria, absolutely delighted with second place. Fabio, what a race.
Actually, it was even better than the MotoGP race. No, but for sure, it's really nice to watch the battles and everything. So.
Oh, they're absolutely chuffed down there as well. That really was absolutely excellent. But results are not yet confirmed, Jack. We could still see some surprises. So many race direction messages on there. Could we see something like some Moto3 penalties handed out?
We could possibly do. I think Mike's got quite the job at the moment to look through all of the highlights on that one. Plenty of contact between the riders. That's what we like to see. We like to see them getting close and making it as competitive as it possibly was. Fabio, what did you make of your first eSport commentary encounter?
It was really nice, actually, because I never expect that really good races. So yeah, it's nice to watch like all the passion for video games and even more with MotoGP.
Can have a quick word with Bomber afterwards as well. Couple of crashes from him. Unfortunately can't get the Petronas Yamaha on the podium like you did. But he has got Aragon in 2 weeks' time. Surely for him it's all about just resetting now.
Yeah, it's a shame. Also, it's crucial. Like in real, the qualifying he starts quite fast. So I think the best is to start over the top 6. So I hope he get a good qualifying for the next one. I didn't see the qualifying, but he will get good results.
Yeah, you'll have to go and give him a hug afterwards to make sure he's all right.
Yeah.
We'll see him back again at Aragon next week. I mean, as you said, so many crazy moves. There's got to be so many black flags. I hear that actually we are expecting some penalties maybe from somebody, but we're going to get a look at the highlights now of the race.
Before we go to the classified results, let's just remind you of an action-packed 10 laps at the Red Bull Ring. It was the man from pole position, Christian MM17, that, to be frank, didn't get the greatest of starts. Trastevere from the middle of the front room died through, but braked way too late. Nearly all 12 of the field outside the track limit as they went through turn number 1, just as you predicted, Fabio. He was super tight through turn number 3 as well. Again, loads of guys nearly in the gravel trap, but that man right there, Christian MM17, took full advantage of the carnage behind him to break clear. It was 1 second, then it was 2, and it was eventually 3. A superb performance from the young Spaniard.
Well, as our co-commentator said, with all these moves, plenty of black flags would be deserved if it was not esports. But absolute chaos on that first lap that made for tremendous viewing.
It certainly did, and lessons I think will be learned as well. The guys so competitive on this first lap, it allowed the man at the front to break clear. And how important is that not to dice in that first lap of the race? Try save it for the end so you can keep the battle for the lead as close as possible.
Yeah, I think it's really important also for the. I don't know if it's also really important in the game, but the tire life is one of the best things to do. If you don't really save it, you will drop a lot of position. So yeah, it's nice to see that he's also same as us. And I will try to learn how to manage the tire also in the game.
Well, if you learn to manage the tyre too well in the game, we might see you here on the stage next season perhaps, maybe. It depends how quickly you take to that. We'll have to see, won't we? But the battle just raged on and on, as we see with number 67 Mauricio versus Trastevere. Turn 6s and 7 in Austria, they are not overtaking spots usually, but with these guys, they certainly were. But no one could stop this guy, Christian MM17.
Over 3.5 seconds clear. We are waiting for confirmed results, but one thing that we can say for sure is that man right there will lead the championship as we head on to Aragon. What a performance from Christian MM17 aboard the Suzuki. We think that the KTM of 1NH may well take second place, but let's find out. Let's get the classified standings for race 2 of the Global Series.
And take a look at the bottom of your screens, though. So these are the final results. But look at that exclamation mark next to Juan NH. He will incur some kind of sanction. Here it is, a 0.5 second penalty for rider. It's number 77, Juan NH 16. But that does not mean there is any change in position. So Mike, just laying down the law a little bit, just saying, hey, I will incur sanctions to you guys. I will hand them out. Be careful next time around to Aragon.
Yeah, he's got away with that one there. A good performance in the final laps, and possibly the battle between Moreira and Trastevere allowing him to break clear to make sure that he didn't fall any further places back. So he takes second place aboard the KTM. The rookie Moreira, a superb performance to take the final podium place. And you could possibly say disappointment for Trastevere. He didn't look best pleased at the end of that one, taking fourth. Adrian DP there in fifth. Mo N6 and the Ellie Ghost 555 aboard the Repsol Honda 7th. Our winner at Mugello, Andrew ZH, getting punted out in the opening laps and had to settle for 8th place. But what a way to start the 2019 Global Series, Matt and Fabio.
Yes, absolutely. Completely agree. What a start that was. And Fabio Quartararo, thank you so much for joining us. I think your commentary debut went superbly. Well, your real debut here in eSports. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Really.
Good,
thank you very much.
Well, you have to come back another time then, won't you? But I think now it's probably going to be time to hand over to Gav and Amy, or Gainey.
They were certainly gamey out there.
They were certainly gamey. There was more than a bit of gamey stuff going on there. A bit of paint was exchanged and all sorts.
Serious carnage, weren't they, in those early laps? So there was a penalty in the end for 1NH, but he does finish in second place. Let's have a big round of applause for our podium finishers at the Red Bull Ring for the Austrian race. The second of 6 in the eSport Global Series for MotoGP. In third place, all the way from Brazil, is Moreira on the Pramac Ducati. On the KTM in Austria, for 1NH in second place.
And our winner tonight for the race 2 is Christian MM17. Congratulations to you! Christian, obviously runner-up in that first race, but got the job done for race 2. But it looked actually more difficult than race 1.
The start was not easy because I had to go out of the track, but I have good luck because the other rider crashed, but I think that in this track I didn't have the pace to win, but anyway.
You did the job. You did a brilliant job.
Yeah, but I am not the fastest in this track, but
I think you have to take all the positives from tonight. A race win, the championship lead more importantly. Ladies and gents, Christian MM17.
Yeah, fantastic performance from him. Early stages in this championship. Let's not forget, this is just the second race in 6 that they will have on, and they can see the championship confirmation as it stands after 2 races. Christian MM on top with 45 points. 1NH in second place there on 31. Trastevere and Moreira all right in the mix after those first couple of races. Unfortunately, our race winner from the first race got involved, got in a tangle, got taken down early on in the race. He'll be disappointed with that one. You had a good night, Amy?
I absolutely have. I tell you what was great, Gav. I thought we were going to come here tonight and we would see all the experienced guys at the front. It's so great to have a rookie on the podium.
Yeah, fantastic. And all the way from Brazil. Great for Moreira to be up here. I hope you've all had a fantastic evening. What an evening we have all had here in Misano tonight. Some fantastic racing, tasty battles all the way through that we've had. And that is all from us from the opening round of the 2019 MotoGP eSport Global Series. Let's not forget the next round of the championship. You've not got too long to wait for it. Coming up in just a week's time from the Motorland Aragon circuit. We can't wait for it. Hopefully you can't wait for it either, and you will be joining us in a week's time from Aragon. Thanks very much from me. Thanks to Matt and Jack and Fabio and Jack Miller who've joined us this evening. Thank you to Amy. Thanks to all our gamers for this evening. Join us next time in Aragon. Thank you very much. Good night.